Welcome back to episode 4 of What's Happening with Emma. I'm your host, Emma Ward, and today I'm joined by my first ever guest, Sorcha Curley. Sorcha is a 31-year-old actress based in Drimnagh. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
And I first connected with Sorcha after watching her in the play No Magic Pill. So I feel very honored that she has agreed to come on and chat with me today. Um, Hi, Sorcha. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much
I'm
for having
really
me.
Thank you for agreeing. Honestly, I know I said it off camera, but you are my perfect first guest because
Oh,
you're
no,
so
I'm
easy.
actually honored.
You are so nice and so laid back that
Yeah,
I didn't feel nervous coming on to film this. So you are
good.
again my
And you
perfect
should,
first
because
guest.
you're actually a pro. And I've been listening to your previous episodes and stuff, and you're doing amazing. So you have nothing to be worried about.
Thank you so much. So to start off, can you please
Yeah.
introduce yourself?
Yes. It's like school, when you're in school and you're in a group of people and you're like, okay, so tell me about yourself. And then you kind of go,
Uh,
oh, my name, I am Sorcha. And like, yes, I am from Drimnagh. I'm 31. I am the youngest of three, or youngest of four. I recently just moved into my own apartment, so that's been taking up a lot of my time. I'm an actress. I haven't acted in a very long time, so I'm not really sure if I still should be saying that, but the auditions are coming, and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm an auntie first and foremost, which is my favorite job in the world. Yeah, that's me.
Erica, we have two things in common. I'm the youngest of six. I'm the youngest of
See,
six. So I know how it feels. It's great being the youngest, isn't it? Or at least
it
most of the
is.
time.
Most of the time, it is. Most of the time,
Yeah.
I will. I do love
And
having three older sisters because we've no brothers, so like we're very very close.
and I have two sisters and three brothers. So
Wow, the big
I
family.
have the full, yeah, massive family, honestly, but they're great. And the other thing we have in common is being an auntie. My favorite thing in this world is being an auntie, and I have two nieces and seven nephews. It's the
Oh
greatest thing
my
ever.
God, you have a huge family. We have five.
Yeah.
I have two nieces and three nephews, so we have five.
Oh, wow. Next question for you is why did you become an actress? And you can call yourself an actress. If you've been in the play No Magic Pill, you can call
Yeah.
yourself an actress according to me.
Okay, good, good. I'm glad. Why did I become an actress? When I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it was kind of the pressure of, you had to decide what you wanted to do for the rest of your life. So I actually went into healthcare and healthcare and disability in Inchicore. And then I did social care after that. But acting was always in the back of my head. And I always said to myself, oh, maybe I should try it. Maybe I should try it. Because it was kind of, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And the social care and the healthcare, it wasn't great for me because I'm always the one that's normally been looked after. So it's very hard for people to
Yeah.
trust somebody that's also needing a lot more assistance and help for them to realize that, like, oh, how can this person actually help me? So then when I left there, then I took a year out and then I applied for the Gage School of Acting and I loved it. It was my second home. I spent 3 years, I think, there, and then actually ended up working there then as well. And then that's where I met Raymond Keane, who was our director for No Magic Pill, and it was like it was right place at the right time. And then I think it was about 2 years later after meeting Raymond that No Magic Pill came, and I auditioned, and that's how I'm here now. From that show, from that moment that Raymond had seen me.
How was that? Like as another disabled person, I'm a wheelchair user like you. How
Yes.
was that whole experience of the No Magic Pill? Because I read Martin Naughton's book, Never Know Your Place. That was incredible. And then I went and saw you in the play, and I never.
It was, I have to say, it is and will always be the highlight of my life. I probably will still think of that show for every single day since we finished. doing the Dublin Theatre Festival first. It was amazing. We got to do it in Dublin, and that was the best experience. I literally felt like I was on cloud nine. For we were very blessed. We had 7 weeks to rehearse in our town, so we not a lot of people get that. Not people only get about 4 weeks. So we had a great time together, and thankfully, as the cast kind of grew, we became a family. So they really helped. It was never, I never went in stressed. I never went in worried about anything. It was like home. So I think that's when I kind of went, yeah, no, I'm definitely supposed to be an actor rather than a healthcare worker, because this is just where I'm supposed to be. It was just the environment of it. And then when we did the show then in the Dublin Theatre Festival, and then we went to Galway also, everybody kind of everybody loved it, and I feel like that was why we also loved it, because everybody related to it that came to see the show. We had a lot of disabled people that came, but we also had a lot of non-disabled people and PAs and carers and stuff that came, and they also came to us and said, God, I've never seen a show that has been so that represents me, even as a PA or a carer. So when people would come
Yeah.
up to you after the show and stuff like that, and they say things like that, it's kind of like, oh yeah, no, I think I'm doing the right thing. Do you know what I mean? It was just the best. It was the best feeling in the world. It was the best 2, 3 years of my life, really.
Again, and I'll say it until that book and that play was two of the most amazing things I've ever seen and read. And I'll always carry them because it was just incredible. So my next kind of question for you, don't want to be the typical person saying, tell me about your experiences as a disabled person.
Oh,
That's like a very typical thing to say.
yes.
But what
Yeah.
what has your life been like with a disability?
Yeah. Do you know what? Doing the show, me being asked that question a lot more. And before I did the show, I used to hate getting asked that question. I used to hate being asked what happened, or like, why are you this, and why have you got this chair and stuff like that. And now that doing the show, I'm more confident in my answers. Do you know what I mean? Because now I know how to say it, and
Yeah,
I know that there's a lot more people like me that kind of need people to say these things. So I was
yeah.
once quite a bit, and we used to live in Tala. We don't live in Tala anymore now, we live in Drimnagh, but we moved from Tala to Drimnagh to be closer to Our Lady's Children's Hospital. For me, because obviously I would have had a lot of hospital appointments and stuff like that. It's weird because when you ask me like what was my life like, it's different to the way it was when I was a child. Like I was quite bullied in school, but nowadays I'm very confident in my disability, if that makes sense. Whereas in
Yeah.
school I would never have been very confident with it. Like I was very ashamed of it in a way when it came to school. But I think it was outsiders'
Yeah.
opinion that kind of made me feel a little bit like that. But now I'm so proud
I
of it. Definitely a part of
I
me.
get that like I'm 23 and
And
growing up I was born with my disability, Hurler syndrome. I've spoken about it so
mhm.
many times, yeah, whatever. But I never knew what life was like without it, just like you. And when I was
Yeah.
younger, kids would ask me, it is like, what's it like having a disability? And I didn't know.
Hmm.
I also that because this world isn't made for wheelchair users,
Yes.
I felt awkward because people
Yeah.
would have to change their plans. You know this,
Yeah.
Erica.
I
People
do.
would
I
have to
remember being
change
very
their
young, and I remember being very young and saying to myself, the world is not going to adapt to me. I have to adapt to the world. They're not going to
yeah
just fix this situation because little old me can't use it. It's never ever going to be like that. So I think, and
yeah
I've been blessed with the family that I'm obviously born into, because I was never the one that was, I can't do something. It was always, you can do it until you like try to do it first before you say you can't do it. So I'm
me too.
still like that. Yeah.
Me too. Like my family's one thing when I was younger was like, okay, you have a disability, but that doesn't mean you can't try. I grew up and I know like it sounds like we have very similar families, but I grew
Yeah.
up knowing that even though I had a disability, that did not define me.
No, never.
My family wouldn't let me sit and be like, oh, pity me. for me, whatever. They're
No,
like, no. They're like, no, you have a disability, yeah, but who, like, that
it
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
You
Yeah,
you try, you go out and do your damn hardest to do whatever you want,
yeah,
and we will support you. And because of that support, I'm here today talking to
exactly. Look
you.
at the tribal.
Yeah. So no, it's great that we both have those support networks because they're needed, and not a lot of disabled people have those, unfortunately. At least that's what
No,
I find.
exactly.
We're
Yes,
very
exactly.
lucky to have the families that we were born into.
Very, very. Thank God.
Exactly. Now we're going into a new segment I like to call Emma's Quick Questions. So, describe yourselves in 3 words. I know this is a hard
Funny?
question, but
No, funny, kind. I like to think of myself as kind. Um, I love the word unique because I do like to be different than everybody else. You know, my difference makes me different to the entire world, and I do like that about myself.
you are definitely funny and kind and unique, Circa. I find that. So yeah, 3 perfect words to describe you. And my next question is, do you have any fun fact about yourself you'd like to share?
Fun fact about myself. Oh my God. I'm trying to think now. This put me on the spot. This is supposed to be like fire questions. Fun fact about myself. I used to think that I could, be in the medical field. You know, when you grow up in the medical field and you
Yeah.
think that you can also do that. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that are disabled that can, but I think I kind of kidded myself a little bit when it came to stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a better one than that, but no, I don't think so.
That's fine. Don't worry. That is a great answer. Um, what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Yeah, the best advice I've ever gotten. I love what's for you won't pass. I love that saying. And I really genuinely do believe in it. I think it was my godmother that said it to me before. My godmother or my godfather, I'm not sure. But one of them, I remember they said it to me before and I stuck with it forever. I really do believe that if things happen, whether they're good or bad, they're meant to happen to you in your life. And it makes a lot of situations that I go through easy. So, like if I'm in pain, or if I have to go through a surgery, or if I'm back in hospital with a kidney infection, it's meant to happen to kind of say, well, no, you need to look after yourself a little better. Or it's there to say it's not your fault, it's actually your body telling you to slow
Mm,
down, or everything happens for a reason as well. I do like that as well. But I do love the saying, what's for you won't pass you.
yeah. And what's your current obsession?
Okay, the middle. We were talking about this yesterday, I know.
Yeah.
Yes, the middle is my new obsession on Netflix, I have to say. I love creating things. So I'm one for like the colouring, and I will sit there and colour for hours, and I will read. I'm a big reader. Now I haven't read in a very long time, but I do go through phases where I will, get a hobby and it will be my hobby for a month and then I'll forget it. So I'm very
Yeah.
impulsive like that. So at the
Hmm.
minute, it's the middle. I watch that in the morning tonight. It's a little comfort show for me. But it's also my home. I'm actually in the middle of decorating my first ever home for myself. So that's my new obsession. So I'm constantly on IKEA. I'm constantly on Dunn's.
Mm.
And I haven't even got a floor, believe it or not. I don't even have a floor put down or anything like that. But I will buy like a coffee machine before I buy it, if that makes sense.
Next question. Now, I did put this in specifically for you because we connected on books as well. So,
Yes.
what's your favorite book or movie? You can answer both of those, or you can pick whichever one.
You know what I'm going to say.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
My favorite book series is the same as yours because I did listen to your previous one and I was so glad that you did mention it. Is the Binding Towards
Yeah.
the End series by Chloe Welch. I
Oh,
probably think about them books every single day. I cannot wait for the next one. I cannot wait for the TV series. I've actually asked if I could audition for it, but
oh.
nothing has about it just yet, but I would love to audition for it at least, even just audition. I will be an extra
Yeah.
if that is the case for that show.
The Binding 13 series is incredible. My
Oh,
For You page on TikTok is filled with people reading Binding 13, and I'm just like, what
oh,
I would do to go back and reread it, like read it for the first time again.
sorry. No, I was just saying my cousin, she's actually in the middle of reading at the minute. I think she's on 5 and 6. And
Oh,
and sometimes she get bored. I'm like, you have to keep going. You have to keep going.
oh my God. And just before I ask you the next question, if anyone is listening here and they like books, we both highly recommend the Binding 13 by Chloe Watts series. Once you read it, you'll know what we mean. It'll suck you in, and you will never not think of that book again. Honestly,
Yes, absolutely. And it's Irish, and it now we probably should mention that there is a lot of trigger warnings in each
yeah.
book. So beware of the trigger warnings if you do read it. And then movie, then I recently saw The Housemaid and I loved it. And I read that book too.
And then I'm the opposite in the last couple of months or so. So
Ah.
it changed.
But I think I
Mm.
will read it before I see the movie.
My last question before I come back to the proper, more
Yeah.
professional questions is, what is your favorite quote?
Oh my God. Do you know the film Miss Cinderella story? Hilary Duff and Pat Michael Murray from One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a quote in that movie that is never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. And I
Yes,
do
I
love
love
that.
that one.
Yeah, I have to say, I do love that quote. That quote does stick with me, and I like to remember a quote like that. It clearly has something in it because, it just I don't know. It just makes me feel like I can kind of do anything and try and forced and don't let the one thing stop you. Keep going.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I love that quote. And my own favorite quote, and I think I said it in my last episode, is nothing's impossible. Even the word says I'm possible.
Ah, yes, I do love that too.
I I love that one. It kind of reminds me because when I when I think back to myself at the start of when I became an activist and a journalist, I've done things that I did not think was possible. I thought things were impossible. And I just
Yeah,
keep saying to myself, nothing's impossible. If you put your head on it, like work towards it, you will achieve it. So I'm constantly listening or thinking about that one quote because that pushes me even further.
yeah. That's amazing. It's great to have a quote like that you can think of and go, no, listen to it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And now we're back to the more professional, serious questions. I hope you're enjoying this, Circa.
Conversation. And when we started talking about books, I was like, we need to move on because me and you can sit and talk
Yeah.
about books all day.
Yeah. Honestly, that's my favorite thing to talk about. So I was like, we're gonna have to cut it down and just
Yeah.
hope for the best with that. But now my next question for you is, what was the first date television show experience like? Like as a person, and again, I hate to be the typical person and say as a person with a disability, like what
Yes.
was it like?
It's so funny. Like, it feels like such a long time ago because it was last year. It was about 8 or 9 months ago now. But so the very beginning is, my friends, they always were like, why don't you try first dates? Why don't, and being an actor as well, I kind of did go for it, knowing that, like, I didn't know what was going to happen, and hopefully something good would come out of it. And whatever I have had since the show has come out, everything has been amazing. I've had a lot of people come to me, and I've had a lot of opportunities, and especially speaking to you as well. So, like, I'm so happy that I did it. It was
Yeah.
great. We had a great time. So the fourth experience is you are on the phone to the matchmaker, and she asked you the
Hmm.
questions. And we had a lovely matchmaker called Claire, and she asked you the typical questions of like, what are you looking for? Is there anything that you definitely be like say no to, and would you date a smoker, would you date a drinker, would you date, and like especially would you date somebody who has a disability. So, and I was also
Mm.
asked, and being somebody that is disabled, I hardly want to go. No. Do you know what I mean? No, never. Like I would
Yeah.
never say something like that. But yeah, so she would ask you questions like that, and then as the time went on, it took about 2 months, I would say, before you eventually go on your date. And she would keep in contact with you, and she would say, "Is it still something that you're interested in?" And I was very interested in it. I wanted to give the the stress of it to somebody else. So I wanted to give the
Yeah.
stress of dating and finding someone for me to somebody else, because I'm not a great dater. I don't like online dating. I've never liked it. And online dating, as I've said before in previous podcasts, it's not easy to do when you're disabled.
I haven't experienced that, but I'll say that it's been so great to see you in the show. I think were you the first participant on it that was a wheelchair user? You can correct
I
me if I'm
don't
wrong.
know. No, the thing is though, it's so funny. I never watched it before I actually was on it. I've never watched it.
Oh.
I watched the English one. So I've never watched the Irish one. So I personally, I'm not sure. I don't know, but I think
Well,
so. But I could
I'll
be wrong.
I'll tell you this much. I watched a couple of episodes before, and I've never seen a person with a disability on it. I'll be happily
Yeah,
corrected if anyone is listening in. You can happily correct us. But you were the first person I had seen, so I was so excited about that. The fact that you were there and you're showing people at home that you have a disability, but you can still do go on the show and date. It was just great to see the media's representation of people with disabilities slowly but surely changing. So it's just great
yeah.
for
Now
me
I have
to
to say,
see
when I
that.
did it and the show came out, it was exactly what I wanted it to be. My disability was shown exactly the way I wanted it. I wanted it to go into it going, my disability is not everything about me. It's only the small part about me. And
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to show that when I went onto the show, and I did say that to the producer as well. And I definitely think that came across. Like I really don't feel like it was, oh, the disabled girl went on. It
No,
not like that at all.
no, I get that. And because I knew you before you went on that show, so I
Mhm.
immediately knew that you were a wheelchair user. But anyone else who was watching it, I don't think they would have pegged it until you had said it.
Ah,
They're like,
yeah, yeah,
that kind of way. So it was
yeah,
just great to see, and it showed you, Sorcha, as a woman and not your disability. So
yeah.
it did come out the way you wanted it, and I say that as someone who watched it.
Yes, no, it definitely did, and it was as well going in as a disabled lesbian. It's not something that's very common either. So I really wanted to show like that we actually do exist, and it's not something to be afraid of. And I will go on dates if I need to go on dates, and it's not. I don't. A lot of people think that you just hide your ground and you don't do like dating and you don't be in relationships. And I definitely wanted to turn that around a little bit and show, no, I don't sit in my room all day and do nothing. I actually would like to meet somebody and have a future and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, well, I hope
Well,
it was shown like that now.
no, that was great, and you did end up with someone, Jenny, wasn't it? Yes.
Yes, we did. We did.
And
Me and Jenny, unfortunately, were not together anymore, but we had the best 7 months together. We broke up recently, but we had a great time together. And the show, I'm really grateful for the show, and
yeah,
we went away together. We did a whole trip around basically Ireland together, and then came home. And we kind of just realized that the distance is quite hard. She is from Longford and I'm in Dublin, so like I would travel a lot. She would drive to me as well, and it kind of got on top of us. So we did decide to end our relationship, but it was great. And I don't regret any of it. And she is great, but unfortunately, I'm not going to do first date again. Let's just say that.
but the one thing I can kind of see from that is that you ended it with a great friendship,
We did.
I
Yes,
think.
no, definitely. We both have our own thing going on. I have recently just moved out and Jenny has her
Yeah.
own thing going on at home. So at this time right now we're not together. But who's to say that we might not be in the future? She is a
Yeah.
great person and I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for her. And we've had a great 7 months together. We really did.
And it comes back to the quote you said that what's for you won't pass you. It's been
Exactly.
great in that sense.
Exactly.
Um,
So if we're meant to be together, we will be. But right now, no, we need to do our own separate thing at this time and go our separate ways. So I'm a single Pringle at the minute looking, or am I looking? Who knows? But yeah, I'm like you said, I'm just, taking it day by day and what's for me won't pass me. And if there's somebody along the way, there could be somebody tomorrow, there could be somebody next week, so I'm very open to what's to come, if that makes sense.
my kind of second last question is, what has been some of your favorite moments? They can be personal or professional. Moments that stick out.
Uh, yeah, no magic pill, of course. Like career wise, no magic pill changed my life. And when I did no magic pill, everybody kind of knew who we were, and it was great. Like, and to work as well. Like, and when I got offered the part of Ursula, it's, I actually went in every single day and said to like our director or our assistants or whatever. And I said, I actually can't believe I get paid to do this. It's mad. And my mom always said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And it genuinely does feel like that. That's why I actually haven't given up on it yet. Because a lot of people, if they don't work it in a very long time, they will go on to something else. But I'm also like, I love my job. So I'm not giving it up just yet. And then that would be career wise. But personally, I think becoming an auntie is a highlight in my life. I remember when our oldest was born, and it was like we don't know what our life was like before all these kids came along, and I would never ever
Yeah,
ever change it for anything.
I think that's incredible. I feel the exact same way, honestly. Again, we said at the start, and I'll say it again now, being an auntie is both of our favorite things ever. It's the
It
greatest
is.
job in the world.
It is. It's
And
a busy job.
it is oh it is it's great, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
No.
And my last question for you is there any last thoughts or something you'd like to say that I didn't cover in this episode?
I think so. I would just like to say that I think what you're doing is great. And then, like, honestly, there's not a lot of podcasts out there that are so raw and like for disabled people, especially. Do you know what I mean? And I
Mm,
think having somebody like you that's doing it, who is not afraid to speak your mind, because I know what you're like. You're not afraid to speak your mind, and you're being yourself, and doing a podcast is something that I have always wanted to do. So seeing somebody like you
yeah,
do it has actually given me the goal to be like, oh, maybe I could do something like that. So I just wanted to know that like what you are doing is very, very important. And like even when people found out I was going to be on your podcast today, I've gotten so many messages from the disabled community to be like, oh my God, I can't wait to listen. So I will send them to you.
really.
But like, yeah. So I'll send it to you
Oh my,
later. But I do think what you're doing is great because there's not a lot of disabled podcasts out there. There's like beauty podcasts and there's fun podcasts, but to get into the nitty gritty of a disability and your life as a disabled person and to be actually disabled instead of talking about disability, it's
yeah.
completely different. So I do think that you're doing a great job.
Oh, Sorka, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will, I, I will talk about this more when we go off the recording. But let me just say, I really, really, really appreciate that. Um,
Of course.
I don't know. I'm stunned. I'm stunned to speak, which doesn't happen very
No,
often because
never.
I'm a chatterbox. So
That's a
I'm
lot for
very
you to
stunned.
say.
And that's what's happening with Emma this week. I have come to the end of the episode, and I would like to thank Sorcha for coming on and being my first guest today. It was lovely to finally virtually meet you, Sorcha, and chat to you. But it's been a really great conversation. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and sharing. And I will be back with another episode very soon. Thank you.